In a small Nigerian town called Irawo, Mr. Agbaje was a man everyone respected. As the principal of one of the secondary schools in the town, he was seen as a symbol of discipline and morality. Parents trusted him to guide their children, and teachers admired his leadership. Whenever he spoke at community meetings, people listened closely. Without discipline, he often said, "We are nothing but animals." But Mr. Agbaje had a secret. Behind his perfect public image, he was not the man everyone thought he was. Though he spoke about morality, he had a hidden life full of lies and immorality. No one in the town suspected his dark side. For years, he had managed to keep his secret safe. Every year, young graduates from different parts of Nigeria came to this town for their National Youth Service. These corps members taught in the school, helping to improve education. Mr. Agbaje welcomed them warmly. He acted like a father figure, showing them kindness and respect. This year, the group of corps members included a young woman named Funmi. She was passionate about teaching and wanted to make a difference. When she first met Mr. Agbaje, she admired his confidence and the way he spoke about values. She thought he was a good man, but it would not take long before her views started to change. Funmi quickly became friends with Ada, another corps member. One day, Funmi noticed something unusual. Mr. Agbaje often called the female corps member into his office for private meetings. He never called the male corps member. When Funmi asked Ada about it, she seemed uncomfortable. "It's nothing," Ada said quickly, changing the subject. Funmi wasn't convinced. She began to feel that something was wrong. Why did the principal only meet privately with the woman? Her curiosity grew stronger. One evening, Funmi stayed back to finish grading her students' assignments. The school was quiet, and most people had gone home. As she packed her books, she saw Ada walking towards the principal's office. It was unusual for anyone to visit so late. Funmi decided to wait and see what would happen. After an hour, Ada came out of the office. She looked upset. Her eyes were red, and she walked quickly past Funmi without saying a word. Funmi's suspicion deepened. She wanted to confront Ada, but she didn't know how. The next morning, Funmi approached Ada. "What's going on between you and the principal?" she asked softly. Ada looked away, avoiding eye contact. "Nothing," she muttered. Funmi placed a hand on Ada's shoulder. "You can trust me," she said. Slowly, Ada opened up. She revealed that the principal had been assaulting some of the female corps members sexually. He used his position of power to intimidate them into silence. Funmi was shocked and angry. She knew she had to do something. Funmi couldn't stop thinking about Ada's story. She realized that the principal was a danger not just to the corps member, but to the entire community. She decided to gather more evidence before taking action. Funmi spoke to other female members in secret. At first, they were afraid to talk, but gradually they began to share their experience. His story confirmed that Mr. Agbaje was abusing his power. Funmi knew she needed to expose him, but it wouldn't be easy. Funmi borrowed a small recording device from a friend. She planned to record her conversation with the victims as evidence. She also started keeping a diary, writing down everything she observed. One day, Funmi hid the recorder in Ada's bag before she went to meet the principal as usual. When Ada returned, Funmi retrieved the device and listened to the recording. What she heard confirmed her worst fears. The principal was using stress to control the corps member. Funmi began to feel scared. Mr. Agbaje was a powerful man in the community. If she exposed him, what would happen to her? Would anyone believe her? This thought made her hesitate, but she reminded herself why she started. She thought about Ada and the other women who were suffering in silence. They needed someone to stand up for them. Funmi decided that no matter the cost, she would fight for the truth. One afternoon, Funmi received an anonymous note in her mailbox. It read, "Mind your business or you will regret it." She knew it was a threat, but she didn't let it scare her. Instead, it made her more determined to expose the principal. Funmi showed the note to Ada and the other corps member. "This is why we must act," she said. They agreed to support her, but fear was still in their eyes. Funmi decided to confront Mr. Agbaje directly. She knocked on his office door, holding her recorder in her pocket. "Principal, can I speak with you?" she asked. The principal smiled. "Of course, Funmi. Come in," he said. But as she tried to bring up the topic, he quickly changed the subject. Funmi realized that he was clever and wouldn't easily admit to his wrongdoings. She needed a new plan. Funmi decided to work more secretly. She created a small group of female corps members who had suffered under Mr. Agbaje's control. They called themselves the Whisper Network and vowed to share everything they knew about the principal's action. The women met under a mango tree. Slowly, they began piecing together a pattern of abuse. Funmi was shocked at how many women had been affected. His story added to her determination to bring the principal to justice. Funmi knew she couldn't do this alone. She needed help from someone in the authority. She decided to approach Mr. Gbenga, one of the senior teachers in the school. Mr. Gbenga was known for his fairness and integrity. At first, he was hesitant to believe her. "Mr. Agbaje has been a respected man for years," he said, but when Funmi shared the evidence she had collected, he sighed heavily. "This is serious," he admitted, "but we must be careful. Exposing him won't be easy." Mr. Agbaje began to notice that something was off. The female corps member no longer looked at him with fear. Funmi in particular seemed confident and defiant. He began to suspect that she was planning something against him. One day, he called her to his office. "Funmi, I hope everything is fine with you," he said, his voice dripping with false kindness. Funmi smiled and replied, "Everything is fine, sir." But inside, she was nervous. She knew he was watching her closely. News of Funmi's quiet investigation began to spread. Some people in the community started whispering about the principal's behavior. Others dismissed the rumors, calling them lies. "How can a man like Mr. Agbaje do such things?" they asked. Funmi knew that the town's opinion would matter when the truth came out. She started gathering witnesses from the community who could support her claims. It was not just about the corps member. It was about everyone who had suffered under the principal's power. One day, Funmi received an unexpected visit from Miss Akin, a retired teacher who used to work at the school. Miss Akin had heard the rumors and came to offer her support. "I left the school because of that man," she revealed. "I have seen what he's capable of." Funmi was surprised but grateful. Miss Akin's testimony would be powerful. With her help, Funmi felt more confident about exposing the truth. Realizing that his power was being threatened, Mr. Agbaje tried to silence the corps member. He started spreading lies about Funmi, calling her a troublemaker. He even threatened to end their service here early if they didn't stop. Funmi knew his tactics were meant to scare them. "We can't give up now," she told the Whisper Network. This is exactly what he wants. The women agreed to stay strong despite their fears. Funmi decided it was time to involve the community. She and Miss Akin planned a town hall meeting to discuss the school's future. They didn't reveal the true purpose of the meeting, hoping to catch the principal off guard. When the day arrived, the town hall was packed. Mr. Agbaje sat confidently at the front, unaware of what was coming. Funmi stood up to speak, her heart pounding. Funmi began by praising the school and its role in the community. Then she took a deep breath and said, but there is something we need to talk about, something that has been hidden for too long. The room fell silent. Funmi started sharing the stories of the corps members, carefully avoiding names. She didn't accuse the principal directly, but her words was made clear who she was talking about. As Funmi spoke, Mr. Agbaje's face darkened. When she finished, he stood up. "These are baseless accusations," he shouted. "I have served this community with integrity for years. This is an attempt to ruin my reputation." Some people clapped for him, while others murmured in doubt. Funmi felt a bank of fear, but she knew this was just the beginning. Funmi handed the recording she had made to Mr. Gbenga, who played it for the crowd. The room was filled with the sound of Mr. Agbaje's threatening voice. Gasps echoed around the hall as the truth began to sink in. Some people still refused to believe it. Anyone could fake a recording, they argued. But others began to see the cracks in the principal's perfect image. Encouraged by the recording, others stood up. "Everything Funmi said is true," she declared, her voice shaking. She shared her story with the crowd, tears streaming down her face. The room was silent as she spoke. Even those who had doubted Funmi began to feel the weight of the truth. Mr. Agbaje's confidence wavered, but he still denied everything. The town became divided. Some people supported Funmi and the other corps member, while others defended the principal. "This is a win shot," his supporters claimed. Funmi felt the pressure, but she reminded herself that justice was more important than popularity. She continued to gather more evidence, determined to leave no room for doubt. While reviewing her evidence, Funmi discovered an old letter written by Miss Akin before she retired. The letter was a formal complaint to the Education Board about the principal's misconduct, but it had been ignored. Miss Akin explained, "He paid some officials to bury the complaint. That's why I left. I couldn't fight him alone." This revelation gave Funmi the idea to involve higher authorities. She decided to contact the National Youth Service Corps headquarters. Funmi wrote a detailed report and sent it to the NYC headquarters, including the recordings, testimonies, and the ignore letter from Mrs. Akin. She didn't stop there. She sent copies to the Ministry of Education and local newspapers. Meanwhile, Mr. Gbenga worked behind the scenes to gain the support of other teachers. "This isn't just about the corps member," he told them. "It's about the integrity of our school." Slowly, more people began to side with Funmi. When Mr. Agbaje realized the matter had reached higher authorities, he panicked. He tried to bribe Funmi to drop the accusation. "Name your price," he said during a secret meeting. Funmi was disgusted. "You can't buy my silence," she replied. She secretly recorded their conversation and added it to her growing file of evidence. A week later, NYC officials arrived unannounced at the school. They conducted interviews with the corps member and reviewed the evidence Funmi had provided. The principal tried to act innocent, but his nervousness betrayed him. The officials were thorough. They even found financial records showing that Mr. Agbaje had been mismanaging school funds. The investigation revealed corruption that went beyond the abuse of power. News of the inspection spread quickly. A local journalist published an article detailing the allegation against the principal. The article included anonymous testimonies from the corps members and evidence of financial misconduct. The town erupted in outrage. Those who had defended the principal began to turn against him. Funmi's bravery became the talk of the town, and more victims came forward to share their stories. The final blow came when the police arrived to arrest Mr. Agbaje. He was charged with sexual harassment, abuse of power, and embezzlement. The once respected principal was led away in handcuffs as the community watched in silence. For the corps member, it was a bittersweet moment. Justice was being served, but the scars of their experience would take time to heal. Funmi stood tall, knowing she had done the right thing. With Mr. Agbaje gone, the school appointed an interim principal. Mr. Gbenga was chosen for his integrity and dedication. He promised to restore trust and create a safe environment for everyone. The community began to heal. Funmi's courage inspired others to speak out against injustice. The corps members completed their service year with a sense of pride, knowing they had made a difference. As her service year ended, Funmi reflected on everything that had happened. She realized that standing up for the truth wasn't easy, but it was necessary. She hoped for her story would encourage others to fight against abuse and corruption. Before leaving the town, Funmi visited Miss Akin, the retired teacher, hugged her warmly. "You did what I couldn't," Miss Akin said. "You brought justice to this community." The town began to change. Parents became more involved in their children's education, ensuring that no one abused their trust again. The Whisper Network disbanded, but its members remained close friends bound by their shared courage. Funmi left the town with a heavy heart but a sense of fulfillment. She knew her actions had made a lasting impact. Years later, Funmi's story became a case study for NYC members. It was a reminder that even in the face of fear and opposition, one's courage could change an entire community. The town never forgot Funmi. Her name became a symbol of strength and justice, proving that the truth always finds a way to shine.